What's up guys, Not Super Mario here and welcome to today's video, my list of my top 10 best movies of 2020. 2020 was actually a very shitty year in general and very shitty year for movies as well, or let's say very tough year for movies. Most of them were postponed, a lot of them went to streaming services. A lot of them were kind of dumped into the schedule just because they had to release them. But thankfully, I found 10 movies that I think are incredible and a few of them that are my honorable mentions. So without further ado, let's go with my honorable mentions. First honorable mention is Love and Monsters. Probably the most fun movie I've seen this year, just because it's so rewatchable. It has everything. Dylan O'Brien is amazing. You put Michael Rooker in it. I love it. You've got monsters, you've got love. It's in the title. I hope we get a sequel. It's awesome. Eurovision Song Contest, The Fire Saga is the next one. I'm just a huge sucker for Eurovision. I love Eurovision. I love musicals. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Will Ferrell, I love this movie. Probably because I'm such a huge fan of Eurovision. I watch Eurovision every single year. It's like a family tradition. So just because of that, I love the music. Even though, yes, I know it's cheesy, it's over the top, it's cringy most of the times. I just loved it. Run is another horror thriller movie that, first of all, it kind of was overlooked. Sarah Paulson gives an amazing performance. It's even though it's kind of predictable, it's done really well. It is scary, it is creepy, it has everything. Probably one of the best horror movies of the year. I'm Thinking of Ending Things is another honorable mention, directed by Charlie Kaufman. I talked about this movie on my underrated movies of 2020. I think this movie is not gonna be for everyone, but I love how existential it is. I love how many questions it leaves you asking about yourself, about life, about what is the meaning of life. I was a mess after watching that movie, but I just loved it. Trial of the Chicago 7 is my next honorable mention. Aaron Sorkin's directing and writing the movie, of course. I never thought I'm gonna hate Frank Langella as much as I did in this movie. The performances throughout are amazing. Yes, maybe the ending is a bit how would I say it, people pleaser, and I know why Aaron Sorkin did it, but maybe he should find another way to do it. But overall, an amazing, powerful movie with incredible performances. And the last honorable mention is Bad Education, starring Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney. Another movie that I talked on my underrated movies of 2020. I just think it's so original, incredible performances based on a true story about this big corruption in high school in America. I think it's really well done, subtle way of portraying characters, what they are going through, how they're trying to get away with things. I loved it. Hopefully, this movie can be considered for Oscars because I think it's incredible. So those were my honorable mentions, but now let's get to the list. Number 10 is The Devil All the Time. Netflix movie that has such a stacked cast. Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Bill Skarsgård, Eliza Scanlon, the guy from Harry Potter that I never remember his name. Mia Wasikowska, Jason Clarke, incredible cast. This movie reminds me of Bad Times of the El Royale, like in 2018, which I loved as well. And again, not a lot of people have seen it. The way story was structured in this movie, I really loved. We rarely see that the main characters appear like in the middle of the movie, and beforehand we've got like a backstory that actually works and makes sense because everything at the end gets paid off in a really awesome way. The performances throughout are incredible. It's directed beautifully. So yeah. Number 9 is Another Round, Danish movie starring Mads Mikkelsen. I already talked about this movie on my underrated movies of 2020. I've seen this movie like a week ago and I was blown away by it. I mean, the way actors were so awesome. The connection they had between these four teachers. I believe they were teachers in real life, and that's something that actually happened. The story is very interesting. It showcases the problems of alcoholism, even though they are trying to improve their lives with alcohol, and in some way they succeed, but it showcases the problems that come with alcohol. Amazing. Mads Mikkelsen should be nominated for an Oscar. And if you don't like the movie, just watch the last 3 minutes showcasing Mads Mikkelsen's like brilliance. It's incredible. Number 8 is Black Bear, starring Aubrey Plaza, Christopher Abbott, and Sarah Gadon. I think Sarah Gadon. This movie blew me away. Probably Aubrey Plaza gives one of the best, if not her best performance ever. And the way this movie is structured maybe can confuse a lot of people because it's structured in chapters, but it is actually about filmmaking and filmmaker set and how movies are made and what drama is happening on the set. But because actors are playing like each other's characters throughout the movie, we have 3 different chapters, and in the first chapter we are watching a movie within a movie. Then we are watching this movie how has been made, and then we are seeing the set and the way it's done. It's awesome, it's beautiful, very metaphorical. And Aubrey Plaza and Christopher Abbott and Sarah Gadon gave incredible performances. This is one of those movies that I think people just won't see because it's not as known as many others, but I really do recommend you watching Black Bear because it's incredible. Number 7 is Let Him Go, starring Kevin Costner and Diane Lane. This one is very simple but very effective. Gory at times, but it works. It's about this like retired couple that lose their son, and now their grandson has moved away with mother takes him away, and they're trying to get back together. But there's this family that now is that mother-in-law? Not mother-in-law. How is it called? If your son's wife and her son move away with another family, and this family is weird and creepy and just wrong, and Kevin Costner and Diane Lane try to get the grandson back, and yeah, it's awesome. It's so simple but so effective. I got teary-eyed. There are some things that happen in this movie that I'm not gonna spoil, that I was like, oh my gosh, this is so incredible. It's really well done. It's subtle, but when it gets gory and violent, it works in every single way. Kevin Costner and Diane Lane are of course incredible in this movie. Their chemistry is just perfect. It's one of those movies yet again that I don't know how many people have seen, but I think it's so amazing, beautiful, effective that you should watch it. Number 6 is probably the most ridiculous and crazy movie I've seen this year. It's called Spree, starring Joe Keery. It's like, imagine modern day American Psycho, and it's crazy. I was blown away how amazing this movie is. Most of the time it's shot with a phone, or at least looks like it was shot with a phone. It's very found footagey, and it's about this guy who just tries to get famous, and he does it in a way that you shouldn't do it, killing people with Ubers and taxis, because he's an Uber driver and he takes people on journeys, and then he does a lot of crazy things with them. And the way it's like, imagine a mixture of Nightcrawler and American Psycho. Joe Keery gives an incredible performance. This movie is very crazy, very over the top, but because of the character that we are seeing throughout the movie, it works on every single level. But I completely understand if it's not gonna be for you, but just give it a chance because it's awesome. Number 5 is El Hoyo, or The Platform. This is a movie that blew me away. I was actually mind boggled by it. It's so metaphorical, especially the ending. An ending could be the thing that could be like, this movie is amazing, or this movie is what the heck I just watched. But the way it was structured, yet again, I love a simple idea, and when it works, and in this case it works, I was just blown away. Having this prison of like multiple levels and this platform going down with food and showcasing how people don't care about each other, and if they would like listen and they would actually take the thing they desire the most and nothing else, everybody could be okay. But at the end we kind of figure out that even though there was food for every single one, there were even more levels than was food. So yeah, this movie is incredible. Performances are great. It's very gory, very violent, but it works yet again. It's not everything is done for a purpose. There's nothing that it's completely meaningless. Yes, the ending is a thing that can break or make this movie for you. But for me, it did it on every single level. I've seen it like 3-4 times, and every single time I notice something more, or I'm just like blown away even more by it because it's so great. Number 4 is Invisible Man. This movie is absolutely incredible. I love Lee Whannell. I mean, after Saw, Upgrade was on my top 10 list when it came out. Now Invisible Man. I was actually very, very scary about this movie. Very, very scared for this movie. Because if you know the original Invisible Man, it gets very, like, not over the top, but very ridiculous how he gets his powers. But the way Lee Whannell did it in this movie, it was modernized. It was something that could actually happen if the technology would get so far. And the performances by Elizabeth Moss, wow, she should be nominated for an Oscar. I know it's not gonna happen. First of all, the movie came out like in February or March. And a lot of times these type of movies are just overlooked at the Academy, but the performances and the way it was shot, the way Lee Whannell uses the camera, cinematography, everything about this movie is absolutely incredible. It became an absolute classic immediately when I saw it. It's one of those movies that even though you're scared and afraid for the characters, you can enjoy it and you can understand it, and everything that's happening makes sense. So awesome. At number 3 we have Uncle Frank. This is probably the only movie I cried in. I mean, Paul Bettany gives a performance of his lifetime, should be nominated for an Oscar. Yet again, it's not gonna happen because it's a movie that not a lot of people have seen. But the scene where Paul Bettany is like hearing his dad's will, just the look on Paul Bettany's face, I was blown away. It got me emotionally so much. It's about Paul Bettany being a gay man and trying to figure out the way his life should work in like 1970s, I think, and the way to how he deals with not being accepted, especially by his family, because his family doesn't accept him, and then trying to understand it and what he went through as a child and what he's going through right now. And then his dad passes away and gives that will, and when they're reading that will, I was blown away. I was teary-eyed. It's so deep, so emotional, and Paul Bettany in that scene Like throughout the movie, he's incredible, and everybody else. Sophia Lillis, incredible performance as well. All the supporting cast, but Paul Bettany blew me away. At number 2, we have Spontaneous, coming-of-age story starring Catherine Langford and Charlie Plummer. And even though now you can see the poster of it, the poster is dumb. I just I just cannot get over the fact how dumb this poster is. But the movie, oh my gosh, it's so incredible. It's so fun. It's heartbreaking. It's heartwarming. One of the best coming of age stories I've seen in recent years. Charlie Plummer and Catherine Langford gave probably their best performances ever, especially Catherine Langford. I think she was incredible. Charlie Plummer has shown this year, especially, he had another movie that was also incredible. I haven't seen it, but I heard only good things about it. But yeah, this movie, even though it's a coming of age story about these teenagers like falling in love and everything, it has a crazy element to it. And if it doesn't work for you, yeah, you're gonna be like, this is iffy. But for me, it made sense. Yes, it's a ridiculous situation, but you never know what's gonna happen in the world. And for this movie, it works. It's one of those movies that people should just see because it's so fun and so relatable. Yes, the ridiculous part, it's not relatable because it hasn't happened yet, but for the movie's sakes, it makes sense, complete sense. And the way Catherine Langford acts in this movie, especially in the last third, wow, I was blown away by it. Catherine Langford should get more movies like that in her way and try to do them because I think that after 13 Reasons Why and even Cursed, I think she deserves more movies that show her capabilities as an actress. And we are here at number 1. My favorite movie of 2020 is one and only Sound of Metal. This movie is absolutely incredible on every single level. Riz Ahmed gives his best performance in his life, and if he's not nominated for an Oscar, I'm like, what the actual heck Academy are you watching? I don't understand it if he doesn't get a nomination because this movie is absolutely incredible, showcases so many levels of what a person would go through in a situation like that. Olivia Cooke, incredible as well. Paul Raci, whoa, he should be nominated for a supporting actor as well. Awesome things. Sound design in this one is absolutely mind-blowingly incredible, amazing. The story in this movie, absolutely amazing. And showing what Riz Ahmed's character goes through and the understanding of that and how hard it is to comprehend, to just all of a sudden get deaf and just imagining. I was imagining myself like if that would happen to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could take it. If I would able to go through something like that. And then that he is actually trying to do everything in his power to get better and do something for somebody else, even though he should be doing the things to get better for himself. And the realization at the end when he's like, this is the way how I should live from now on. And just that scene at the end is so powerful. And it's one of those movies that not just only gives you everything that you want as a filmmaker, as an aspiring filmmaker as I am, but it gives you life things, life purposes, life thoughts. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in a good place right now, and people that go through a lot and they're not in that place. I was mind blown by this movie. Riz Ahmed absolutely blew me away by his performance, and it's one of those movies that I'm gonna remember forever. It's in my brain and in my heart forever because it's so effing good. So this is my list of the best movies of 2020, in my opinion, of course. I'm sure you have different lists, and for that reason, share it down in the comments down below, your list. If it's similar, doesn't matter, just leave your list in the comments down below. I want to see what your favorite movies were in 2020. Hopefully 2021 gives us incredible movies and more movies like 2020 did. Hopefully we get theaters back. Hopefully we get more movies. But nevertheless, the year wasn't the best. There were movies that were very memorable and that made my life as a film lover happier, beautiful. I don't know how else to say it. I just love movies, and it's really fun to do this type of things on this channel and in general talk about movies with you guys or anybody else. So for that reason, if you have your lists and if you have like a minute, leave it down in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, share this video all over the place, click that bell icon to get notified when I upload, and I see you next time. Bye!